I love this film. It was such a brilliant tour through the past, through the streets of the future, or of the present, I should say. The childhood nostalgia and connection to the space and the city neighborhoods through the resilience and new opportunities of youth. The dancing through the space really captured that sense of wonder and that celebration, that physical exploration of a space rich with family history, almost a more poetic and immersive reenactment of an individual journey, but also of a collective journey of those who were raised in this area of San Francisco. I loved that very like haunting, rich score underneath, just brimming with emotion and a nuanced, bittersweet sound, which I thought really linked to the themes of the struggle, of the resilience, but also that deep affinity and connection to a place.
Focusing about this need for affordable housing, specifically among Chinese immigrants, and allocating them to Chinatowns after World War II. And you have a collection of people retelling their memories in this piece paired with the redramatizations. And most of these redramatizations are movement pieces, which is very interesting. I have never really seen anything like that before. And there's this common thread of feeling unwelcome and then creating your own community to feel that sense of welcomeness. And we see this community even extending just beyond Chinese immigrants to everyone who's living within this housing system. And for me, the movement pieces really brings it to life. The dancers bring these moments to life. So it's just a very interesting way to frame a documentary. Even though this documentary would have stood well enough alone with just the collection of memories and just the collection of interviews between the people that lived within these Chinatowns during that time. I think also seeing the redramatizations just made it a very artistic and interesting piece.
Cool dance documentary film, a combination that I haven't seen before, which I thought worked really well and was really fun to watch. Um, Hearing the interviews as if you're watching a regular documentary and then seeing these interviews and these stories and anecdotes be danced out interpretively, acted out with dance was really cool. I just loved seeing the different interpretations and the different stories and visually being able to watch this as I listened to the stories. It all worked so well. I especially enjoyed how they made everything into a dance. Like the roller skates translated really well into dance, and then they also had dancing with just their hands, which I thought was super creative, and the dancing while sewing and while cooking, just making all of these different stories into these beautiful scenes of movement and expression that you don't get from a normal documentary film. So this was a documentary that was really, really fun to watch and just immerse yourself in and enjoy the story and the dance as one.
There were a lot of interesting voiceover stories from immigrants to the US and their experience living together in public housing set up for immigrants. I loved seeing all the photos of the families living there. I enjoyed hearing the stories of how the kids from various families played together and about the hard work ethic of the adults and how they loved and supported one another. In addition, it was great to hear about the success of the fighting for the maintenance of public housing. What really set the film apart for me was the fabulous choreography by the diverse group of talented dancers in the area, so passionate and creative, and the camera work came really close and was effective from many angles. The articulate rap lyrics and jazzy music worked really well too to set the tone.
I thought it was fascinating to see how this particular Chinatown came to be. I mean, Chinatowns are in every important major city, so getting some insight and some history of how this one flourished really just piqued my interest. The doc itself was put together really well. There's a good mix of vintage family photos and modern footage to keep things visually interesting. The score was also really a strong choice too. It was very jazzy, so I thought it was just a really interesting interplay between the music and the visuals. Overall, just a thoroughly interesting documentary filled with compelling human interest stories.
Kind of parallels the different generations of Chinatown. It was fascinating to see, mainly because what I really liked about it was how it takes the tales of an older generation, and they're essentially being recreated by the younger generation, kind of paying respects to that older generation. I thought that was very endearing, and it was also very interesting learning about what growing up was like for them. Uh, all of it was very insightful and eye opening.
Along with it as a way to tell a story, the dance combo with actually telling a story about community, the history of how it started and how they're doing now, and bringing people together to live with that without looking at color and worrying about it. It's inspirational, really, and it's definitely a different way to tell a documentary. It keeps your attention, whereas there's a lot that will just do narrative and face to face interviews. But by showing things through dance while also acting out some of what their grandparents did is absolutely amazing. Showing their family histories, showing their community's history through a very artistic way. And I think that end quote really does it, that art is the key way to bridge the divide between humanity.